that obviously there was a car in the house. He hit it so hard that he took two of the low low bearing walls, and they're not in good shape. Yeah.
What time of day was this?
This was right before 12:30 in the morning. We were all asleep. And then we had two dogs in the house and a tortoise, but everybody's safe. We had glass in our feet. We had to go. She had neck injury and a hip injury. She had to jump out her window because she couldn't get out of the house because there was too much stuff in between where she was. Um, what we're requesting is something to be put either
At the end
Speed bump,
where your house is?
yes,
Right.
speed bump, guardrail.
guardrails, and then there's also a sign. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear me or not. There's a sign that's about what, 12 houses? It's 3 houses. Oh, it seems so much further away. Wow. Well, it's really small and it doesn't have any like reflectors or anything. And the one that's further down that has the guardrail, it does. I have been driving down that street and I've never noticed that sign, so I don't know how anybody else would.
Right.
And I just think that maybe something at the end of the street would be best.
When she was younger, when she was, my oldest daughter and her were young, um, about 20 years ago, a driver, went through our yard, splintered our mailbox and came this close to hitting that bedroom that she's in. They were in that room watching TV on Thanksgiving. My husband, we've always put our vehicles out front to get hit. His truck has gotten hit. The telephone poles have gotten hit. The light poles have gotten hit. We just need something done. I'm afraid to go back in that home
I
and
hear
feel
ya.
comfortable.
I'm sorry. You know what? I agree. Y'all need something
She
done
doesn't
and I
want
know
us-
where you are.
She doesn't want to be in that bedroom anymore, and it's like I don't know where else to put her because she's scared.
She's scared. I'm sure she
It's
is.
through 3 rooms, so even if I was in that back bedroom and it had hit that side, I mean, it could have gone through 2 bedrooms just as easily too.
Ma'am, are you all down near Marineth?
Yes.
We're
Right
on
there
the,
where the curve where you come
we're
in?
in the cul-de-sac right there. Yes. So I
Y'all-
always tell people when they try to find our home, I say, go down Meredith and you can just pull straight into our driveway.
So
And
straight on.
And the reason why we were talking about speed bumps was because um, the one person a long time ago went through our yard, but this guy went as far as in going through our driveway, and it has a dip. And so there was no tire tracks. He
He
must
flew.
have airborne through our home. When I first moved in there 29 years ago, I remember waking my husband up. We were in that bedroom before we built our addition on, and there was a police chase. I don't know if the person had stole the car or what was going on, but I woke up with a empty car in our driveway and a police officer's car in our driveway, and they chased them into the woods back there. So that car initially, did not know to make the
Right.
turn as well.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask our chief, can you address this, Rick? What can we do? And I guess you and Public Works probably should get together and see what we can do legally. What can we do, Fred?
We can do all those things that she's asked, but I think it needs, as you said, to be addressed by Mr. Franconi and the chief. And I know we can probably put together our sign committee this week even to start talking about signs. Jimmy's
Yeah.
going to have to look at the speed.
I had asked for a sign.
I would like to see, I don't, if you're drunk, you're not reading signs, you know?
Correct.
I
Well,
would like to see a guardrail put in front of this house or a huge speed bump. I know we don't do speed bumps in J-Town. The fire department and the police department don't like them, and I get it. But if everybody would look at these pictures and what you've been through,
I had asked
would sell
Mayor
my house, to be
Foreman
honest
back
with you.
back when he was in here. I begged him for one, and he said no. He would give me a sign.
who said that?
Clay Foreman, when he was the mayor, when that guy went through my house the first time, or not through my house, but right before my window, And he said the best he could do was that sign.
Well, I can't imagine any council member up here after seeing those pictures that would vote no for not doing something.
And I was gonna say,
Can't
is there,
imagine any of y'all.
do you have
Oh,
a street
agree.
light there too? Cause I know that 90-degree turn gets dark.
Yeah.
Is the street light on and?
So you know how you have the gas lights
Yeah.
Yeah.
in our neighborhood? I have one between my home on the, so if you're looking at my home, I have one between here and my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law lives next door to us. We,
It's the old fashioned.
yeah, and that one's gotten hit and, well, they both have both sides.
And we also, like, yes, this man was drunk, but I think there is a problem with speeding because when our house got boarded up that night, whoever came and boarded it up was speeding down the street and we were obviously all freaking out, but.
And telling them
And
to
you
slow
see people
down.
speeding on both ends, going from Old Hickory to
Yeah, going
Marinette
up
and then
Marinette.
Marinette to Old Hickory.
Right, right. Well, let us do this. I'm going to meet with the chief and with Jimmy Franconi and our city attorney, and they have a sign committee or whatever, and we're going to come up with something, and we'll be back in touch with you in a couple days if that's okay.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
So,
Thank you all for listening to
coming,
us.
and I'm sorry that
So
happened to
sorry y'all
you.
had to live through that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Your pictures are up.
Did you leave an
Here's
address and
Here's some
phone
more of your
number?
pictures.
Tim gave it to the board.
Okay.
I got it, Fred. Michelle Brinley. Call you Michelle? Okay. Thank you very much. Uh-huh. Paralee Hoyle. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm representing Chenoweth Hills subdivision, the part that's off Saint Rene.
Uh-huh.
We were wondering what we would have to do to get a no soliciting sign. We're being bombarded by solicitors. And of course, with the lady in Hurstburn Acres getting beat up, raped, and the lady on Lover's Lane getting killed.
Yeah.
We just soon not have solicitors now. I'm not sure what will stop them, but a lot of people are, since the only people at home are the older people or,
Right.
and
They're
they,
supposed to come up here and get a permit is what they're supposed to do, but I
Okay.
don't think they do they, chief?
Yeah.
well, I
Yeah, I
figured
had
it
two at
had
my
to be
house this week.
registered or, I mean, the no soliciting had to be registered somehow. So Spectrum and Terminex and whoever this bug spraying company and supposedly LG&E was knocking on doors the other day wanting to tell me about the new meter that they'd already installed. I don't know if that was legit or not. I didn't open the door, but we just were wondering about what we had to do if we could put it out there and hopefully
We can put a no solicitation sign if that would make you all feel better. But if somebody was knocking on your door, I would be calling and, or yelling to them, do you have a permit? What should they do, chief?
Yeah, LG needs.
so I wondered. Kind of figured that, but a lot of people have just, it seems like, well, 4 days in a row, we had 4 people,
I'm not saying you can't do what the mayor has suggested.
Mhm.
Sympathize with you.
Yeah. Well, I said, basically right now with the fact that a lot of these people aren't legit and they're taking advantage of older people, it's just a crime type thing that we're worried about.
But, I tell you all the time, don't ever hesitate to
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, please do that.
Okay.
That they'll meet together. Y'all gonna have a meeting to sign ordinance? Okay, okay. And then solicitation, Jimmy, you got those. So we'll get back with you. Somebody will call you and we'll take care of your problem.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you very much.
Thank you.
ma'am.
Uh-huh. Thanks for coming. Anybody else want to speak? Oh. Sean Gilligan. Hi, Sean. Come on up.
Good evening, Mayor Pike,
How are
City
you, Sean?
Council. My
Mayor,
name's Sean Colleen. I'm the
Mayor
mayor of
Gilligan?
the City
He is
of
the mayor.
Woodland Hills.
Mhm.
Thanks for letting me speak. We're, of course, another incorporated city, and in Louisville, we have about 82 incorporated cities, various sizes. One of the biggest issues that we have, especially in smaller cities, is policing and enforcement, and particularly with the environment that we have now, the shortage of police officers in Louisville Metro, enforcement from the Metro standpoint is very, very difficult for us. So previously, what we've done is try to do off duty. We had one officer who is a J-Town officer who had done a fantastic job and had since ceased working with that particular organization. So recently, I'd say it's probably been a few months ago at least, we approached this gentleman and asked him if we could contract with him on like a 1099 basis, like a lot of cities do. And we had an agreement worked out. I think he used to work or he used to live in our city or had some family there. But the understanding that I have is that, of course, there's a liability issue for any city department having their officers, their vehicles in another city doing enforcement, which is specifically what we need. So, at the same time, that provides an incentive for these officers, for their families, and, really, really gives them, another reason, another avenue to kind of support themselves and their families. So what I'm asking for is to have support for off-duty services. I know there was a previous fee that was associated with that
Right.
from the officer standpoint. And, we can work out some kind of interlocal agreement or something like that. But Woodland Hills is
Where is
pretty
Woodland
close.
Hills? Where is Woodland Hills?
We're if you know where Middletown is, that's basically where we are. We're Marengo,
I know that. yeah.
Evergreen, like right in that area, just off Tucker Station Road. So
Sean, don't Middletown have a police department? I was thinking they did.
they do, but they do not provide enforcement for us because they're a separate city.
Oh, okay. I didn't
So
know.
we would have to do the same thing with them. And to be quite frank, this police officer did such an outstanding job
You wonder.
for us
Yeah.
when he was working through KLE, so an off-duty service, that we'd love to be able to have him back, where he grew up, spent a lot of time.
Right.
Um,
Is this one of our police officers?
yes.
Okay. Okay. Chief?
City is that fair to the citizens of government for them to use our equipment, our cars, they get hurt, we have to pick up the liability. That's the issue.
Mhm.
It's not as simple as just paying them by the hour, having them come and patrol your city. So, we thought that surrounding neighborhoods all the time was not annexation or merger or something like that. I mean, for us, it's just say, yeah, we'll come for Officer Paul Heath will come to your neighborhood. Oh, you just pay him. I just don't think that's fair to the city of Jefferson. Now, what we can do, Mayor, you want to talk about them entering into some kind of agreement, financial agreement with the city of Jefferson. Not pay the officer directly, have them pay the city, and then you pay the officer time and a half or whatever it is earned, then that might be plausible. But just for me to let my guys get out and patrol other cities, I just don't like the optics. I've had people.
And I fully understand that. I know it's a liability, for the officer, for the department, for the city itself. And,
How
you
would
know,
the insurance work on that?
Well, that's where I was headed. With the new budget, I'm going to have two separate policies I'm going to be reviewing. And I'm not so sure we're not going to have a serious issue with respect to, does that raise our liability premium if in fact we're renting our police officers out? I mean, they're basing their premium upon those officers patrolling our streets. So it could be reflected in an increased premium. And I would be hesitant to even suggest considering it until we get the new policies in at the end of this fiscal year.
So, what's y'all's pleasure? Should I put this in safety committee?
That's a good spot.
Is that a good spot? Are you good with that?
Yeah.
You good with that, Kathy?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay. Sean, we'll put it in safety committee. We'll meet with them and all the 4 members of that, and then I'll get back with you and let you know what the decision is after they look at the insurance and everything.
my assumption would probably be that, an agreement with the officer with maybe, even if there's a fee to the officer and then that just gets passed to us,
Right.
that may end up being a lower liability, situation for Jefferson Town. So I'm not, an insurance expert by any means, but, we're, of course, we're almost neighbors, and,
Sorry.
we're not trying to, take your officers to Outer Loop or, to Butyl or something like that. But we want to make sure that we're still mindful of your liabilities and anything that's going to raise costs for you guys.
Okay, okay. Is that good with you guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Sean. I'll get back.
Thank
with
you, Mayor.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, reading of minutes, April 16th, 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Reading of minutes, April 17th, 2024.
I make a motion for reading of minutes, April 17th, 2024. Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. General fund warrant number 1606.
I make a motion that we approve general fund warrant 1606 as distributed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Road fund warrant number 993.
I make a motion to approve road fund warrant 993 as distributed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have the final presentation of the University of Louisville. And for all of you all that have been here, this is the Urban Planning Economic Development. And I went down and I was privileged to go down and spend a couple hours with these U of L students. And this was one of their homework assignments, I guess, upon graduation. So Matt, I'm gonna let you take it from here. And they have done a lot of work.
I'll be brief. Like the mayor said, we had 2 classes that came before the city and wanted to work with us on identifying and looking at our downtown from an economic development and a planning and neighborhood perspective. So this class is going to give you that short presentation of their final presentation. This way we can use a lot of this documentation for future grants and also to help guide some of the stuff that the Main Street program is going to do. So I will turn it over then to who's going to start off? Come on up and introduce yourself and
Sorry, I'm a loud talker, so if I'm yelling,
Oh, I
can
can't
definitely
hear,
tell
so
me.
I
You'll
love
be
it.
fine.
perfect, awesome. So my name is Sydney Fawcett. If you all want to go ahead and introduce yourselves so we can
Oh, yeah, sure.
get introductions out.
I'm Reiko Presky. Hi. I'm Lily Bing.
Yeah, we have 2 members of our group that are not here tonight, so we're going to try to take over. We're going to try to keep this brief. Can't make any promises, but we will try our best. So the title of our project is Grow Local, Nurturing Businesses and Strengthening Communities in Jefferson Town. So we're just going to kind of go through our process and then our design problems and then kind of our solutions to that. Perfect. So this first slide is just kind of like our overall objectives and our goals for this entire project. Moving away from the mic. So after discussions with Matt, with stakeholders, we realized that the kind of primary goal of J-Town was to encourage and strengthen local businesses. So we wanted to make that one of our goals for this project, in addition to increasing connectivity and also utilizing or elevating, sorry, underutilized spaces. And I guess another goal that J-Town offered was to make it a more attractive space for residents to not only take pride in, but also people to enjoy outside of the workday, or if they wanted to come here for the weekend, kind of just give it more use, I guess. So this is just an overview of our whole process. So we kind of broke it up into 3 different phases. First being kind of our desk research, interviewing stakeholders, and then just doing site visits to J-Town. And then our next phase being identifying problems and then creating some sort of kind of feasible timeline as far as implementing all of our goals. And then phase 3 being identifying those actual solutions. So we identified problems and then tried to create ideas of how we would solve those design problems. And then also, this is kind of part of our phase 3, just presenting our final proposal to you guys. So this is just a brief history of J-Town. I assume most of you guys probably know the history of J-Town, that it gained, I don't know if it's this side. Yeah, it was founded in 1700s, and it was named after Abraham Bruner. And was originally named Brunerstown, but then was later, named after Thomas Jefferson, as we see today as Jeffersontown. And then the historic Gaslight District was named after the gaslights that once lined the streets. And then J-Town originally it gained city status in the 1880s, and then of course merged with Louisville and Jefferson County and is now Kentucky's 10th largest city. And then today, J-Town still remains a vibrant community. So we hope that this project kind of carries on that legacy of being a vibrant community for all sorts of people. So now we're going to kind of move into some of our desk research. So this first map is showing just median age in J-Town. And that red circle in the middle is just the intersection of Watterson Trail and Taylorsville Road. It's just kind of an easy geographic pinpoint to what we're looking at. And then that first dash circle is just a half-mile radius, and then that next one is just a mile radius, again, just for geographic perspective. So in this area, the median age ranges anywhere from 34 to 44 years old, which can kind of tell us that there's probably a lot of families living in this area, maybe a lot of younger folks. And as you can see kind of closer to that circle, we do kind of have a good range. I wouldn't say there's a, predominant age group that kind of takes over J-Town. So that could, kind of sway what kind of uses enter J-Town and what kind of solutions we can have in the city. So this one's kind of a more specific age demographic. So this is just the percentage of population under 18, just to kind of show how much of the population is children and maybe how perhaps like education uses could be entered into J-Town, how after-school activities or just family-oriented uses could be brought into J-Town. And again, there's a pretty high density. I think it says up to about a quarter, 25% of people under 18. So that's still a pretty good portion of the population. And then this next one is just median income. So there is a very wide range of median income. It goes as low as $54,000 a year to $130,000 a year. So this can also provide a range of uses that can be provided, whether it's high-end luxury stores or, thrift stores or kind of secondhand stores. It kind of leaves us open-ended to what we can provide. So this is very interesting. So this is a business pattern map of J-Town. These are all the commercially zoned properties kind of in and around the Gaslight District. And we wanted to highlight kind of the categories of those commercial zones, whether it was retail, restaurants, office, medical, things like that. And we also wanted to highlight certain very specific uses. So this one kind of shows the grocery stores and retail and kind of the lack of that. There isn't really much grocery aside from the Walmart that's not even in this map. And then, yeah, there's just no grocery aside from the farmer's market that is just a weekly occurrence. So we found that to be something that could, be lacking in J-Town. And then this next one kind of highlights other uses. It's the same map, but also shows the abundance of auto uses that are in J-Town, whether it's auto sales, auto repairs, there's a lot of car-centric businesses in J-Town. So that could be taking up spaces that could be used for other, whether it's commercial, restaurants, anything like that. There's also a lot of services in J-Town, which I think could also be a, important thing to have in the city. But this one was really just to highlight the abundance of auto uses that are in this city. Next, I'll kind of talk about this later, but we talked with stakeholders and a big issue that they brought up was parking. So we wanted to kind of visualize the parking lots and street parking that is in J-Town. So all the gray kind of blobs that you see are the parking lots. And then there's very, very minimal street parking in downtown. So we just, again, wanted to visualize and see kind of, does this match stakeholder perspective, or are these opportunities to either turn these parking lots into something or, again, add potential parking. So like I just said, we did do stakeholder analysis. We each interviewed a few people and they identified key issues, one of which being economic development, that being a very high priority, and also creating unique local businesses and also supporting those local businesses. There was also a big theme of nostalgia that people had with J-Town, which we found very interesting and could essentially be incorporated into the future of J-Town, kind of bringing nostalgia. And then stakeholders also shared a desire for progress and development. So yeah, that was kind of just the key takeaways from stakeholders. Okay, so these were just specific interests, whether good, bad, whatever. These were kind of the interests of stakeholders. One being beautifying the facades of buildings. It came up a lot that the historic aesthetic of buildings like City Hall wanted to be seen throughout J-Town. So that is something that could be seen, even if it is like an update, it can still kind of look historic. Again, a desire for adequate parking. It was brought up several times that there was a lack of parking and that could potentially be causing businesses to come in and out of J-Town. There was also pedestrian safety that was brought up. There's not a lot of protection for pedestrians throughout J-Town, or at least the Gaslight District. So again, that was an issue for stakeholders. And then also a variety of shopping, whether it was local, chain, boutiques, antique shops, you name it. They just felt like there wasn't much variety in that aspect. And then also they wanted support for upcoming business owners. They felt like they were kind of just left on their own and had to try to figure it out themselves. So having some sort of support to create and maintain a business was very important for stakeholders. And then also, again, an abundance of auto uses, like I had said in the previous one, but that was brought up multiple times by stakeholders. So just to kind of sum up our research portion, we identified 3 key design problems. One being underutilized spaces. So that could potentially be vacant, storefronts, vacant buildings, or those parking lots that may not be utilized for most of the day, most of the week, what have you. Second being lacking retail and grocery stores. As you could see from those maps, there's no grocery stores, again, aside really from that farmer's market that doesn't occur every day. And then finally, effective communication and support for new and existing businesses. So once again, business owners don't feel like they really have a resource to get all the answers they need, how to start a business, how to maintain that as well. So these were, again, kind of just our 3 big design problems that we tried to sum up from all of our research. And now I'm just going to pass it on to Lily as far as existing conditions for J-Town, and then we'll move into our actual proposal.
All right, again, I'm Lily. I'll kind of go fairly quickly through the existing conditions because you all know J-Town very well, obviously. But yeah. This is kind of a map showing some of the sites and a broad overview of some of the places that we took interest in for potentially solving some of these problems or these areas of improvements, some physical locations that we thought may be able to be used for those purposes. So some other just broader general existing conditions we wanted to talk about would be the general streetscape. Again, you're all very familiar, but the streetscape is very nice in J-Town. You've done some recent projects on that. So it's a very enjoyable place as a pedestrian or just driving through. There's benches, trees, historical markers, all kinds of different things to kind of stop and look at. But that's something that you always kind of want to keep in mind is the pedestrian experience and the keeping people around in the downtown area. So this is something we wanted to keep in mind in our proposal. And then you also have some murals, which are really nice, kind of add to the atmosphere downtown, make it an inviting, lively place to be. You can also see in some of these pictures the street lamps, landscaping, things like that you also want to keep in mind when you're considering the general streetscape. And then we'll get into some of the specific locations we had pinpointed as maybe places to kind of do something interesting with our design proposal. So this is the Masonic Lodge or J-Town Academy. This functions as daycare and then also a meeting place for the Masonic Lodge. It's right across the street from where we are right now. But we saw a lot of potential in this building because it's obviously pretty large and has a big presence on the block, right across from City Hall, right across from Third Turn. So kind of a little happening corner of town that might be good to capitalize on that kind of momentum, all the good things that are happening in this little kind of corner of the city. And then Peach Street runs right behind that. That was another place we had considered for maybe hosting events or doing, I don't know, something to kind of extend off the back of that building we had just talked about, maybe use this space for something interesting for people to come to. And then the farmers market. So this is the weekly farmers market Sydney had mentioned. This takes place in the parking lot right near here. Which kind of causes a little bit of a conflict because obviously you want parking for people coming to the farmer's market, but having the farmer's market in the parking lot means people can't park there. So it's a little bit of kind of, I don't know, conflicting interests there, which we kind of thought could maybe be solved with some of our proposals that we had in mind. But we were very interested in the farmer's market. We like that it's downtown and kind of in the heart of the city, and it's great to have a farmer's market. It's a great attraction to bring not only people who live close by, but maybe even people from further away into J-Town. So we wanted to kind of expand upon that, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And then there's this one block of Watterson Trail that we took particular interest in as well. You can kind of see from left to right. We've got the retail thrift store and then the pet store, liquor store. There's the log cabin there, which we kind of took particular interest in too. It kind of blends into the background, but that's one of your oldest city or oldest buildings in the city. I think one of the oldest, maybe the oldest building still standing in the city. So we thought maybe embracing the history and charm of that building and using it for something appropriate for its looks could be interesting. And then to the right, you kind of have a couple offices and then a hair salon there. But we took a notice in this block because it's kind of visually disjointed, kind of a lot of different styles of buildings, some that maybe appeared to have been residential at one point and are not anymore. So we took interest in that and thought maybe could be given a little facelift and made to look maybe more historically appropriate, kind of refer back to the look of Quills and the Gaslight Diner and that kind of area and make this block kind of a continuation of that nice looking area of downtown. So we'll talk more about that. And then here's the J-Town Museum, kind of referring back to our idea for use for the log cabin, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But currently the museum is kind of far from the downtown city center in the library, and probably doesn't get a ton of foot traffic down there since it's not really in the heart of downtown. So we also considered the current location of the museum and how we could maybe use our proposal to draw more attraction to the museum. And then the last physical site we'll talk about is this catalytic site. It's kind of hard to tell from the picture here, but it's very close to where we are right now, between Billtown Road and College Drive, kind of where Billtown Road bends. And then Neal Drive is kind of across from that. There's this square patch that's not really being used for anything. I think there are a couple of residential properties on it, but it's pretty much undeveloped. And the city, Matt Munier, had showed us this as a potential catalytic site for potential future development down the road. So we wanted to consider what could be done to benefit J-Town in this particular area. And then kind of a non-physical existing condition we also considered is the current state of business development and business opportunities in J-Town. So I think this is potentially changing already in the future, but there's not currently a business association in J-Town. And then as our stakeholders kind of referred to, there are obviously resources and things for new business owners, but starting a business can be very daunting and scary and confusing. So the more resources and people available to help new business owners, especially if economic development is a priority, the better. So kind of listing some of the current resources that you have. And we thought about ways that maybe we could expand upon that and make opening a new business in J-Town as easy as possible. Okay, then do you want to pick up here? Okay.
All right, so now, now to the design implementation. So like we said before, we were going to work on the Trail Market, Gaslight Gardens, Waterson Walk, Jefferson Museum, and the Bruner. You can see that this is all centralized in this downtown area, the Gaslight Square. And we'll go through them a little more in a second. So here it is. Put into context, you can see that they're all pretty closely centered. That will help us to build up this area. Everything should be pretty walkable between it. And with the Waterson Walk, or Gaslight Gardens, sorry, with Gaslight Gardens, everything will be walkable and bikeable between them. So here is the Trail Market. This will be the new year-round indoor farmers market. So the current space can be utilized as simply parking, and we will move that here. We imagine that this area can be utilized year-round. There'll be garage doors on it. Here, let me switch to the next
That's
picture.
the building across the street.
Yeah, so this is the Masonic Lodge.
The Masonic Lodge.
Okay, that makes sense
And
now.
so the dotted road is Brunner.
The money.
Mhm.
And so we're going to put a bunch of doors, garage doors on the side of it so they can open up, kind of open it for the public, make it really fun place to go to. We were kind of imagining it being like Logan Street Market, in which there would be different types of things. It would be an easy place for new businesses to start because overhead is low. And it would also give people groceries any time of the year. And here's it from the back. We imagine a lot of outdoor space as well we can utilize. Again, just take advantage of the fact that we have a lot of space outside that we can enjoy. All right, so let me see if I'm missing anything. So up next, we're going to talk about Gaslight Gardens. So Gaslight Gardens is Peach Street. So we're imagining Peach Street being closed down for cars. So as of now, it's kind of used as an alleyway between different, you know, if you're trying to cut a corner, you'll go through Peach Street. We're imagining cutting that off so that it is more for bikes and people. We're imagining a lot of murals so that it's a fun place to walk through. It could be used as a communal space that can be utilized for weekend events like antique fairs and, you know, clothing swaps and stuff like that. We imagine it being full of greenery. So that, you know, it'll be a nice place to walk your dog. Again, this will connect. So this will go from the Jefferson Town Museum to the Trail Market. It's just going to go the whole length. Okay, the next one. Here's Gaslight Gardens. You can see it keeps going down. Yeah, it should be a nice green space to walk through. And here is Waterson Walk. So this would actually be essentially right outside of City Hall. And it will go over Waterson Park, Waterson Trail, and it will connect the farmer's market to this building. So why did we put this here? Because Waterson Trail is really busy. And, you know, there's not very many places to cross the street. If we're trying to improve walkability of this place, there needs to be more cross-street access. So we imagine something like this. Another plus of it is that it's really pretty and cool, and it could kind of be a focal point, you know. As of now, other than the big archway when you come in, there isn't really much visual identifiers of being in the downtown, but this will give something like that. And you can get a new vista and a new view of downtown. It'll kind of have that wrought iron feel, and it will kind of reinforce this downtown Gaslight District feeling. Another thing about it is that, let me see, make sure my notes. Oh, no. Another thing about it would be that it we'll offer more space to stand when City Hall has events like concerts on the steps. It'll be another place to enjoy them from. Okay, so here is Jefferson Town Museum. So that is the current, so this is in between Grape and Shelby. So we are suggesting moving the museum where it currently is in the library into the old log cabin that is right there. I think the log cabin is called the Leatherman Log Cabin. So this way, the library can be utilized as a maker space or community space, but we can reinvent that space to be more practical for where it is. But we imagine that the museum should be more close to the downtown so that it kind of gives Jefferson Town more of a specific identity. And we might as well utilize this old historic building to teach history. And it would be a better utilization of, this building. So along with the building becoming the museum, we are suggesting improving all the facades around it. One thing we heard is that a lot of Jefferson Town's businesses don't really have the shop front. They kind of look residential. And that kind of makes it hard for someone walking down the street to know where is a good store to pop into. So we imagined that we would update the facades of the buildings near it. And so it would kind of give it this more walkable vibe. Put retail shop fronts, it'll promote business, and it will, kind of add to the visual feel of it. Everyone likes the way that Quills looks, so we can add more of that kind of feel. All right, and up last, last, we have the Brunner. So this is the catalytic site to the bottom southwest of the Gaslight Square. So the Brunner we imagine as a multi-use development. So what's that mean? We are going to use it to support business owners. So to do that, we imagine childcare. So, we're talking about moving the Masonic Lodge and J-Town Academy from that current building. So we can hopefully have them all move in here and support businesses by having childcare right in this building. And this building would also be used for community meeting spaces, co-working spaces, conference rooms, office and retail spaces, and commercial kitchens for rent. We imagine that it would have a variety of sizes of units so that it could support all types of businesses and serve as more of a business incubator. We also imagine that this place would have the business association housed within it so that new businesses can easily access a business liaisons who can help point them in a direction of who they need to talk to when they have a question. So for this, if you're thinking about that little intersection, there is currently there's Billtown Road and it's kind of
College.
yeah, so there's Billtown Road and Neal kind of ends right there. We're talking about extending Neal Road to Billtown Road so that this lot will have more road front. That will also help though to alleviate some traffic on Watterson, as it'll give another route to Taylorsville Road. Okay. Yeah, so this also, the site that we were given is pretty large and this only uses about half of it. So if there is any interest in expanding it, building a satellite school campus, this can be extended and be used by other campuses. So something that we've used as a motivation for this is Bolt and Tie, or the 1020 brewery in Clarksville. They kind of have a similar thing, and theirs is fully booked. All of the rental units for they have housing in it as well, but the housing and the businesses are all fully booked there. So we're going to skip through the timeline a little bit as our grant expert isn't here, but we imagine this will take a bit of research, zoning changes, moving the museum and extending Neal Drive, among other things. Peach Street will be pretty hard to turn into, fully no cars. So we're imagining a slow introduction of that, maybe just on weekends having events, seeing how the community feels about that, and moving from there. Let's see here. Yeah, and the farmers market as well. As of now, we don't know if the demand is there. So if we just first start with extending museum hours and farmer market hours and days, we can start with that. Yeah, we're gonna skip that. Okay, and here's our sources. And any questions?
Anybody have any questions? No?
I've done a lot of work.
Great.
lot of
Yeah, you
information.
guys did a good job.
Oh, thank
You did a
you.
really good job.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Got some good ideas.
Thank
I
you.
want
Yeah,
to
it
thank
was very
each and
fun.
every one of the students that took place. And I've been there and I've seen the amount of hours and time you put into it. And I want to thank you for your energy. I want to thank your teacher who has been there all the step of the way. And we appreciate you doing this. And that was a great project. And I hope y'all got A's and I hope y'all pass. And
You earned
I
it.
know you're glad it's the
Earned
end
it.
of the semester, you know? So anyway,
Thank you guys for all your time and being so open for us to work with you.
okay, thank you all.
Thank you all for your hard work.
Uh-huh. Matt, do you have anything before I go on?
And I just want to thank the students for their time. I mean, they did a lot of work. They came out, they talked to a lot of our downtown business owners and property owners. Whenever they talked about stakeholders, they interviewed our businesses and our property owners. So a lot of those ideas are coming from a lot of our constituents. So I think some interesting ideas coming out of here and actually these can be used for maybe some future grant applications and as we refine some of these ideas and thoughts. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda will be first reader resolution number 769, series 2024.
I'll make a motion for reading by title only of Resolution 769, Series 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
A resolution relating to the approval of a revised detailed district development plan and amendment to binding elements as transmitted from the Louisville Metro Planning Commission for the following development: Riggs Tire and Auto at 9905 Taylorsville Road. Mr. Russi's already assumed the podium to give a summary of this particular resolution.
Okay, and as Fred said, this is a revised development plan, amendment to binding elements. This was triggered through enforcement actions. We had some issues with access way to the houses on Livingston that go, their driveways are actually behind the houses. They don't come off of Livingston because Livingston's at a higher elevation. So that got blocked and we came in and looked at the binding elements. This was rezoned, I think in the 1990s, from C1 to C2, which allowed the auto repair, but there was a binding element, like only 8 cars could be outside overnight and over the weekend on the property. And they have a lot more outdoors than that at the time. There were some things that the previous owner failed to do from the existing binding elements that they should have had a landscape plan and some other things that didn't happen back then. We didn't have zoning enforcement out here at that time, so there was no follow-up like we can do now. So they were requested, they really wanted to eliminate the 8 cars outdoor on the property. We felt they needed to have some limitations. So instead of just eliminating that binding element, we proposed the binding element with, they can have the number of cars outside for the number of parking spaces on site. So you don't get unruly and block the access easement. Also ask for the access easement to be delineated. So tow truck drivers that come in the middle of the night to drop cars off, don't leave them blocking the only vehicular access to those houses. So, our requirement is that they actually pave that with cross-hatching markings on there, no parking. We updated the binding element, so they'll have to come into compliance with Chapter 10, which is current landscape regulation. They have a certain number of days to get the landscape plan approved and then implement the landscaping on the property. We did allow them to add 4 tow truck drop-off locations in like parallel in front of the overhead doors, because they have no control over if a tow truck driver comes in the middle of the night with a broken down vehicle. So they have 4 spaces there that are designated, will be painted so that they know that's where they're supposed to leave the vehicles overnight or on a Sunday when it's not open. So the applicant did agree to the binding elements. We sent them to him, and he did agree to them. And so that's really, there's no physical changes to the site that you'll see other than the landscaping that's required to go in. It's really just striping the parking spaces as required by the code, providing the handicap accessible space and keeping that accessible to a handicap accessible vehicle. So that's, is there any questions?
Hey, Steve, does that handicap space, is that used for to increase the number of cars that can be parked on the property?
Actually, the binding element specifically says you can't count that one as what you can have outside overnight.
Is that the same with the tow truck spaces?
The tow truck spaces are actually in front of the overhead doors. The handicap space is in front of the actual man door to the office space.
Gotcha.
Steve, with them doing the marked spaces, will that increase more than 8 or? Does it keep
Yes,
it
it's more than 8. It's, I think, 11 plus the 4 drop off overnight on there.
But actually everything will be organized.
It'll be much better organized and it will look better for the city.
Okay, thank you.
I think Mr. Riggs has been trying diligently to correct all this and to.
It's been a long
performance. It's been a long thing. So I
it
feel
took
like
a couple
we're
of
fine.
a year and a half to get the sign permits issued, but he has been doing better with the property. He'll need to follow these, and you know, there are time limits on when he gets these things done. And the 8 spaces would still be there until he gets the markings on there. So
What's the, just so I get orientation, what's next door to this place?
to the right is I Love Tacos across Livingston. To the left is the
Our
oil change.
Oil change.
Madam Mayor, if there are no further questions, I will adopt Mr. Rusi's summary with respect to this resolution and agree with him. We've had several code enforcement board meetings with respect to this. I believe he's covered everything that has been requested by the board in the binding elements. This being a resolution, I would ask that you entertain a motion for passage.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. First reading of resolution number 778, series 2024.
I make a motion for first reading of resolution number 778, series 2024 by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a contract with Rumpke of Kentucky, Inc. for the collection of solid waste within the city. Mayor, by way of summary, we have had several meetings of the committee. I believe it's Mr. Bloom's committee with respect to this. As I said, several meetings, and I believe the recommendation from that committee is favorable,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I have forwarded the contract to Rumpke. They have executed it and they are in agreement with it depending upon the actions of this city council. This being a resolution, you may entertain a motion for passage.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I would just like to say on this contract, a lot of hours and a lot of thinking and a lot of talking to different companies went into this. This wasn't something that was taken lightly. Our garbage contract went up by almost $500,000 to the tune of almost $2 million. That's a lot of money. So just wanted you to know that I thank all the committee members that put all their time into this, and I appreciate it.
And everything's staying the same.
Everything's staying the same. Nothing's
service.
changing.
Things the same.
Nothing's changing.
And Carol and Mayor, we thank you for leading us in that.
You're
Absolutely.
welcome. Thank you. Next is that we have an ad hoc committee that met yesterday about the ordinance. I'm going to say native plant ordinance, And that ad hoc committee has passed,
I think we were gonna pull that.
Uh-huh.
I think
Oh,
we're
that's
pulling that
you?
off the agenda, yeah.
oh, okay, okay. Never mind. I'll withdraw
We're still discussing.
my discussion. Okay.
Nothing to see.
Okay, that is it. Okay, committee reports.
Excuse me.
Let me see who goes first. Vince Grisanti,
Public Works has no report.
Pam Hickey,
Well, again, it looks like the next 2 months with Parks and Rec, it's gonna be very, very busy time. Debbie, do you have anything? Just lots going on.
Thanks for the list, whoever put this together. Very nice.
Pam Ware,
I have a few things. Chief, I was gonna ask you about the highway safety meeting Thursday at the Jeffersonian. Is that something that J-Town is putting on or? Is it specifically gonna be in J-Town or the surrounding areas also, I guess?
Small piece of J-Town.
Okay. Okay. I was just curious about that. That's Thursday at 5:30 if anybody wants to attend. And then the other thing I want to mention is a friend of mine and her friends put on a annual appreciation party for Public Works. And that's going to be this Saturday at the Eagles Club from 6 to 10 if anybody wants to come. She just knows how hard your guys work and just wants to appreciate you every year. And I keep asking her, I'm like, Debbie, I'm so busy in the summer. Can we do this in the winter? And she said, no, we can't do it in the winter because they could have a snow situation. So anyhow, if anybody wants to attend that, that'll be at the Eagles. And that's all I have.
thank you, Pam. Mark,
The finance committee met, before this council meeting today, to review revenue. And, at the next city council meeting, the mayor will present her budget. And if we want to make changes, we'll have until June 4th to do that. So that's the finance update. The ad hoc property maintenance code and land development code meeting, we met yesterday. And, we have not come to a decision yet. So that's why I got pulled off the agenda. And then the last thing I had was, Mayor, it looks like the KLC Summer Summit is happening. So for council members, if anybody wants to go, it's June 4th, 5th, and 6th at the Embassy Suites in Lexington. June 4th is alcohol beverage control. June 5th is advanced topics, and June 6th is economic development. So, Mayor, if any of us want to go, do we just contact you, let you know? All right, cool.
Mark, do you have information on that by chance?
Yeah. Yeah. Or-
Okay. Appreciate it.
Yeah. It looks like some good topics. So definitely that second and third day
Okay.
Yeah.
look really good.
thank you. Is that it, Mark?
Nothing else to report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Allison,
Legislative has nothing.
okay. Tim Hall,
Economic Development, this kind of wanted, committee. Wanted to thank the U of L students. I walked with you all the first time and listening to, or seeing the finished product that you all just presented was absolutely amazing. We gave some ideas, just let you all walk at night and look at and then find out you all came back quite a few more times. Quite impressive to see the vision, on that project. Traffic has been brought up multiple times, so thank you for we've talked about different crossways and different points of putting them. So thank you for that. The other thing I was kind of interested in is the innovative idea of commercial kitchens or communal kitchens. That was very interesting concept. So thank you. Appreciate y'all's hard work. Wanted to thank the Parks and Rec Department for the bed race entertainment and the Public Works being involved with that. Police Department, there were a lot of people there. That was a great event. Thank you all for that. I know we did the trolley, the farmers market, and got a lot more events coming up, Deb and Emily. So thank you all very much for all your hard work on that stuff. And we'll be seeing you out there in the city unless you want to join us, tell us anything more about the events. I know Pam already asked you. You're good. Thank you. That's all.
Trina,
Administration has nothing.
okay. Kevin,
Planning and zoning has no report.
that is it. I just want to say a few words about a couple of events that's gone on. First of all, the bed race was a great success, even though we didn't win. I thought we did, but we didn't win. We lost by 1/10 of a second. A lot of work
Recount,
has gone into that, and I don't think people appreciate the work that the Public Works, that the Parks Department, and the Police Department put into this. And I have full intentions of getting with the Derby Commission and Derby Festival, and I feel like that this is the only event during Derby week that does not get the recognition that it is due. You've got 50 people that are economic development. There are 50 companies throughout Louisville that did not get recognized other than 1 minute when they walked in with their bed. And that's not fair to the people who put in all the work. So I plan to make my voice heard downtown on that. Next thing is we had a trolley hop, our first trolley hop. It was a success. It was a long success, but we got it. And now we've had a meeting. Parks and Recreation had a meeting this week. We are going to take the trolley and we're going to only be downtown, and we're going to have stops, and there's going to continually to be stop after stop after stop. And then if you're going to go to Plainview, the senior citizens bus will take you from here to over to Brownies and that other one over there. I can't remember the name of it.
Cask.
Yes, Cask. And then back to here and then over to Bud's. And if you're at Bud's Tavern, you can pick up over in any of those areas there and come back here and get on a trolley. So this next event, we're going to try and see how it works, but you will have about 11 stops in about a 2-mile period, and they won't be so long, and people can get on and off. One thing I'd like to say about the trolley ride, I want everybody to enjoy it, but it's not there for an evening of riding. I intend to do this to help the people and our businesses in downtown. The point is to get on the trolley, get off the trolley, spend your money, get back on the trolley, get off the trolley, and spend your money. So that's the thing. It's not to just keep riding the trolley. I need you off. I need you spending. I need you eating, and I need you buying gas. I need you doing everything. So anyway, that's the point of the trolley. Okay.
Charge for rides or free?
No, we don't charge a ride yet, but it might be.
Well, you buy something to get on the ride.
Yeah, you can buy something. So anyway, other than that, what else do we have? Oh, the farmers market was a big success. We did about 50 dogs when we did the chipping of the dogs. We had about 50 of them, and that was a wild morning. Other than that, I think that brings us up to all the next events that's going to be taking place. It's going to be a nighttime market, and everybody's excited about that. And just watch our website for all the new fun things going on. Anybody have anything? Want to say anything? Jimmy? Steve? Oh, I didn't hear one word you said because I'm deaf.
Come to the party. Public Works party.
I just want to thank Pam for bringing up the party Saturday night. We'd love to see you all there. Stop in and have a good time and just shoot the breeze with the team.
Okay, thank you very much. Steve, you got anything? Okay. Debbie, nothing. Matt, nothing. Chief, nothing. Anybody else? Scott,
Scott.
nothing. Okay. Okay, with
Kevin?
that,
Mayor, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Meeting adjourned. They want to stay on the trolley?
On that little side part